What is going on, everybody? Nitro Freak here, live from the dungeon. I'm live from the dungeon where I do all my streams, my Sixer streams, my boxing streams, which this Saturday night I'll be doing Wilder versus Ortiz. And it should be a big blast because Wilder's going to knock his head off, let's be honest. But we're here to not talk about that. We are here to talk about Burnergate and this upcoming game against the Seattle Seahawks. All right? Nelson Aguilar is under a lot of heat for apparently a lot of reasons. I don't understand it because I don't think he created the account. But enough of me. How are you guys doing tonight? What's up, Darius? What's up, Philly.500?
What's up, buddy? How you doing? How you doing, Darius? Good to be here. Thanks for having us.
No problem.
Once again, another week, another roller coaster ride of a season that we're having. It's just ups and downs. Even my body cannot take it. I got sick this week just because of the Eagles just giving me this emotional distress on my body. Now I'm just trying to recover.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Now, the first question I wanted to ask you guys is, did you guys see that tweet earlier in the morning or more in the afternoon? Because I know you guys are both West Coast guys, so that had to be you had to wake up to that, I think. I'm not sure. And what are your initial thoughts on it? Do you think it was him, or do you think it was one of his close friends, or no one related to him at all?
Yeah, you go first there.
Yeah. So, I woke up to it, and I was, for some reason, I just sort of bypassed it. And the funny part about it is that because I bypassed it does not mean I don't believe it. Part of me sort of had the side of saying, that could go ahead and be Nelson. But for the most part, I just try to go ahead and put that aside and be like, all right, these guys they have to be professional, just at least perform out there on the field. But the reason why some of me is sort of holding on to the fact that it could go ahead and be Nelson is just because, I mean, for someone to go ahead and pretty much get all eyes are being looked at you, for the amount of drops, another drop in a crucial point in time of the game this past Sunday. Obviously, all eyes are going to be pointed at you. So you're just going to want to go ahead and try to find a way to take the blame off of you. I could see it. I could see it being him as well, but I don't know. I have not been able to make a final conclusion on that, to be honest.
Gotcha. What about you, Philly?
Well, Tim, for me, this didn't start this morning. This started late, not late, but like 8 o'clock yesterday. I had somebody in my comment section say, I found Nelson Aguilar's burner account. I'm like, what do you mean you found it? So I go and I check it out, and I'm like laughing. I'm going, this is pretty crazy. He's only following 12 people. He only has 2 followers. So I'm like, it's probably not him. It's just some fan. And it had the name, which I didn't know that was his middle name. When I woke up this morning, I was getting ready for work. I'm in the car. I have 97.5, the Fanatic on, and they start talking about it. And I'm going, well, that can't be the same account. And I go to that account, and it's like already over 1,000 followers. Like everybody was flooding it. Right. Okay. Now, I hear Nelson Aguilar is a very nice person. Okay. This is what I hear. However, I was thinking about this. Okay. I don't know if he did it. But I was thinking, if it was me and I had a burner account, the one thing I would not do is I would not delete the account. I would delete the tweets and then deny, but I would not get rid of the account. This person has deleted all the accounts, all the tweets. I'm sorry. He has his account up, but the tweets are gone, and he stopped following anybody. Right. So he's only got followers. That's kind of exactly what I would do too. So in a weird way, I am suspicious. I also have another theory. Can I tell you that real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Maybe Carson Wentz figured he would make a fake burner account and act like he's Nelson Aguilar, talk crap about himself, so Aguilar could get in trouble and you get rid of him. I think it would be genius.
Right. I don't know where your head's at right now, man. But right now, I gotta thank Triple G so much. He says Niner Gang $2 super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat, my brother. Yeah, you guys have a big game on Sunday night against the Green Bay Packers. You guys took us out of that time slot. And that's your game now. So good luck the rest of the way. I had you guys as a wild card team this year as a 6 seed, but it looks like you guys are playing for the number 1 seed. So good luck to you guys on the road.
Must be nice.
Yeah, it must be nice, right? It's just ridiculous how we fall off the face of the earth so much. We now have to concentrate on this bullshit in the locker room with this stupid Burnergate, which it probably wasn't even Nelson Aguilar. It probably wasn't even anyone on the team.
Probably not.
Just some stupid fan making it up. And
or maybe relative.
No, because they found out his middle name, so they put it on Twitter, and this stupid chick on Twitter was like, oh, his middle name's this. So it has to be him. So I don't know why you're clapping back at the fans. I don't understand what that even means anyway. But basically, that tweet got about 3,000 likes, 800 retweets. This Eagles fan that's a woman, and yeah, it's blown out of proportion. And I just think it's bullshit. But the fans will do what they want. The fans are bored and they don't want to talk about Carson Wentz anymore. So they'll keep talking about this.
No. I mean, part of it though too. Let's be honest. Is when you have your GM of a franchise, the local franchise, Sixers, Brian Colangelo had three burner accounts. He got caught with 3 of them. Yeah. How do you know that didn't put the idea in Nelson Aguilar's head?
It could have, but I mean, if you look at his body language in the locker room today, it just looked like he was laughing it off. like
Yeah. I don't know. I don't hold it against him. It's impossible to tell. Mm-hmm. But I'm just saying, if it was me and I had a burner account, I would not delete that account.
Well, didn't he also deactivate his Instagram from what I saw after the Patriots game?
Yep.
So I mean, it's either one. It's either like, I mean, in my opinion, if you're deactivating your Instagram, and looks like he's just trying to go ahead and stay as far away from social media as possible, so that can go ahead and be a strong consideration as to why, obviously would not be him, just because looks like he does not want to go ahead and see any headline, any criticism, or take any bashing towards him. And I mean, even if he does create a burner account, it would be just ridiculous, because I'm like, dude, Nelson, you're having millions of people talking about you. So what are you going to go ahead and do? Reply to millions of people on Twitter talking about on how, Carson Wentz doesn't read the field or something like that. So it's just like, what, like, that's where I saw on him deactivating his Instagram account earlier this week, where I'm like, it makes sense as to why it would not be his, just because it looks like he's just trying to stay away from all the outside talk.
Yeah,
I think that the deactivation of Instagram actually proves that it could be him. Not proof.
Listen,
he's deactivating Instagram because he can't take it.
Yeah.
He can't take the fans.
Well,
so if he's frustrated and pissed off, why not deactivate and then create a burner account?
All right, before I go on my rant, Philly.500, I got to thank Rodrigo Ortiz, also Ringo's son, 51 on Twitter. He says, here, F the birds, but supporting my friends. Thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat, buddy. Great Twitter handle over there, effing Dallas Cowboys fan, but whatever, fuck the Cowboys. But you're great. I love the super chat, and you guys are in better position than us, and you're probably going to win the division. But going back to what I was saying, Philly.500 is the biggest Nelson Aguilar hater in the bird's nest. The guy wants him thrown off the team, completely released, doesn't want to give him a shot, even though if he could get out of his own head and actually catch the ball, I'd actually argue he's our best wide receiver. I really would. His footwork is the best. He's the best. And I see that look from Darius as well. But I'm going to be honest with you. There were a couple games this year where he went over 100 yards receiving. He had 10 catches, 9 catches. If he could catch the ball, get out of his own head, he'll be a dynamic wide receiver. And that's why I'm not giving up on him. The last end zone touchdown pass, all right, you could say that was on Nelson Aguilar. Fine, it was in his hands, whatever. All right, and Philly.500 says 100%. You could say it was on Nelson Aguilar. But if the ball wasn't thrown like a fucking duck the first 3 plays, maybe, just maybe, Nelson Aguilar would know where the ball was going and he wouldn't have to track it, and maybe he would have caught it. So, just my opinions. And, I would love to move on from this, but I know he has his say in this.
No, I mean, look, Nelson Aguilar is the first wide receiver in history to play in the National Football League with 4 feet. 3 left feet and 1 right foot. That's it. He guys can't catch. He can't catch. And the argument that went throw too hard and missed other passes, so it threw Aguilar off. I would buy that if he didn't have such a long track record of drops, like the Atlanta game. perfect
Well,
pillow.
he played
pass.
great in the Super Bowl. What's so different? That's the biggest spotlight you could be under. And
Here's why he had a good 2017 in my
of Foles.
No, not because of
It
Foles.
was because of Foles.
No, it wasn't. It was because in the first game of the season, he made a big play. And mentally, he got a lot of confidence from that play against Washington. Yeah. He is all mental. If he has a bad start, it's over. If he has a good start, he can build on it. And I think that 2017 catch against the Redskins, where he scores a touchdown, set him off in a good way. The Atlanta game set him back. That's my theory on him, because it's mental with him.
I mean, you go ahead, Darius.
Yeah, I was just that's. I think it is really a lot has to do with when it comes to Nelson Aguilar, his mindset. I mean, I do agree with Natural Freak when it comes to skill set and everything you want in a wide receiver. There's a reason why he was highly ranked when it comes to the draft prospects as wide receivers. The dude's footwork, his route running, everything is crisp. But when it comes to just doing something routine as catching the football, it starts becoming a mental game. And in my opinion, I think what we saw in 2017, where that was finally a good year from Nelson Aguilar, and then now you just see him sort of take a step back in 2018, and bam, 2019, just back to 2015, 2016 Nelson Aguilar. I don't want to start saying that I don't like that year might be a fluke, but just seeing how everybody was performing to now, how they look like now, I think that Aguilar season in 2017 was nothing but a fluke year as well. And just seeing from how everybody sort of just regressed. But I think that's just when you win a Super Bowl, and then that takes a toll on your body because you're playing 19 games in a season. So I feel like football players naturally regress when they constantly win, which is why I wish we would have taken the Patriots approach and done this recycled process of bringing in you guys that aren't beat up from playing 19 games and are hungry, that haven't won a Super Bowl, play into their system. But it looks like with Nelson Aguilar and the rest of our guys, I just feel like they all just regress from that Super Bowl, and it makes it just seem like it was just a fluke year.
And the big problem that I have with this fan base, and what actually you guys just said, well, not so much Darius, but what Philly.500 just said, is that you're welcome, buddy. Is the fact that everyone is blaming, and I just got a comment in the comment section by Mike Rivera. He says you're blaming one wide receiver. Everyone's blaming Nelson Aguilar and no other receiver on the roster. What about Jordan Matthews, the guy we just signed? He looked terrible.
He stinks.
He looks absolutely terrible.
No. We're talking about. We're only talking about Nelson Aguilar because we're talking about his burner account.
But you want to know why week after week after week we talk about Nelson Aguilar? It's not just because of the burner account. It's week after week. It's because we expect him to be a number one wide receiver, and he's not playing like it.
And because he blew big games early in the year for us.
Well, he blew one. He blew the Atlanta.
And the Detroit game, he was horrendous, dude.
That was more, I think, a Whiteside.
He air fumbled. I've never seen anybody air fumble.
Yeah.
He short-armed the pass against Dallas. He made no effort to get that ball.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the reasons why. Now, Nelson Aguilar, I agree with you in terms of physical talent and ability. He's got it, but it's up here, in my opinion, with him. It's all in his head, and maybe he can go somewhere else, and some coach can coach him up. But
it's
mental. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah,
but I will also say Matt Collins is a disaster.
Horrible.
He stinks.
But we know what to expect from Matt Collins because he wants to play special teams.
And look, and Alshon Jeffrey is half of what he was in 2017. He's slow. Yeah, because he is hurt.
Yeah,
and we all know he's playing hurt, and that's why we're giving him a pass because we know he's trying to tough it out. Mm-hmm. So that's why I don't think he gets as much. And then Carson deserves the blame in parts that he screwed up, especially against the Patriots. He deserves it. But I mean, these receivers stink. Come on.
We did just get a comment in the comment section. It was a special one from Sadin Aliran. He just said, Philly.500 always wants to cater to Wentz.
He always says that, this guy. I love him.
He treats Carson like his troubled son who can't do nothing wrong.
No, I did a whole video talking about Carson's problems.
Yeah.
The next video I do, I talk about the other problems. Everybody comes at me, you're not blaming Carson. I just did a whole video before that telling you my problems with him. Carson wasn't perfect. But like, I do think that he takes too much of it, and he's going to because he's a quarterback. I accept that. Yeah. But I got to stick up for if we had decent receivers, competent receivers. Okay, if you could name me, there's nobody worse.
Well, let me ask
nobody worse.
Let me ask you both a question, all right? And both of you know this. I know both of you know this. Who are the two people on the Philadelphia Eagles that get the brunt of the blame, or supposed to get the brunt of the blame if they lose?
Coach and quarterback.
Yep. Coach and the quarterback. Wentz doesn't get any blame.
What do you mean?
Ever.
Dude,
ever.
Ever. All week he's been getting killed.
No, he hasn't.
What are you talking about?
Fan base?
Dude, all I hear is the anti-Wentz people. The Folesian Society has been out in full effect.
Dude, you just had some random chick put out a Nelson Aguilar burner account and it got 3,000 likes. 3,000!
But it could have been his burner account.
Oh my God.
I mean, if you to ask me, when it comes to Carson Wentz, he's really liked upon national media wise from whenever I watch these talk shows and all that kind of stuff. Like, despite Skip Bayless, because we know his certain agenda, and obviously being a strong Dallas fan, because sometimes I might hear that Carson Wentz is getting a lot of blame and just too much blame sometimes, just because it would come from Cowboys fans, which we know that's one of the biggest fan bases in America, and they could really sometimes take over social media as well as national media that we see on TV. But, experts and all that kind of stuff, they really raved high about Carson Wentz and all that kind of stuff. For me, when I've done my, buying into what the Eagles, who's been performing during the bye week, who has kept the Eagles at the 5-4 record when we went into the bye week. I had Carson Wentz as one of the top 5 Eagles. He's been the reason why we've been still competitive. However, from what sort of now, I'm sort of it's both bad receivers, and I think it's also more inconsistency coming from Carson Wentz with his accuracy. And from what I saw this morning from the Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz press conference, really stood out to me, and that was with Doug Peterson literally saying, pretty much saying that Carson Wentz should just let the offense flow, let the offense go with him instead of allowing Carson Wentz to go ahead and do too much. And that's what really, really stood out, because then Carson Wentz came up and he's like, look, I'm going to be doing my own thing. This has been my game since, I've been a quarterback. And
no, it hasn't, though. It hasn't.
I've been – and the reason why that part now scares me more than ever, just because I don't want to hear my coaching quarterback
argue
going this way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're supposed to go this way. Brady, Belichick, they were always on the same page for a long time until the last several years with Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers. They were always in the same direction. Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson, they're in the same direction. Today stood out to me the most when it came to Doug Peterson saying, let the offense go with him. And then with Carson Wentz saying, look, this has just been my style. I'm always going to go ahead and was a fine line, however, whatever he said. But, and then it sort of makes me bring back to the report last year about how, Doug Peterson or Doug Peterson preferred to coach Foles just because he allowed his offense to work with Foles, whereas it was harder to coach Carson Wentz because obviously Carson Wentz likes to go ahead and go out there and just do his own thing. Mm-hmm. So then now it's just like, if they're never going to get on the same page, how the hell is that going to go ahead and be solved? How the hell are we going to have our Super Bowl winning head coach and our franchise quarterback that we just signed over $100 million quarterback, number 2 overall pick? We got to get these guys going together. How do we do this?
We're not. And honestly, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I hate saying that. You have to dumb down the playbook for Carson Wentz like you did for Nick Foles. You have to. Because if you don't, I feel like they're using a more of a, I wouldn't say smarter systematically playbook for Carson Wentz. But you know what worked for Foles, you should make work for Wentz if it's not working right now. Or does that make not enough sense for the assholes out there that keep blaming everyone but the quarterback?
Okay. There's one reason. It's such a small sample size, but you guys got to hear me out on this one because you guys remember that Atlanta game when Carson Wentz went under that tent for evaluation and McCown was in for like 5 plays, but
Ran it.
we were going downfield.
Mm-hmm.
We went downfield.
No.
Hold on.
That's so untrue.
Hold on.
We were going downfield.
We were going downfield with McCown, and Wentz came in, and then we had to settle for we settled for a field goal. And remember, this was McCown comes in. He's a limited quarterback, so what did McCown have to do? Rely on Doug Peterson's offense to go ahead and get it going. And so when I saw us moving the ball efficiently with Josh freaking McCown, who was just retired and got out of retirement just to play with us a month ago before he came in for that quick series or for that quick 5 plays, I'm like, why did that look so much more easier as opposed to Carson Wentz out there just, needing to like do all this kind of stuff?
Really?
I think I honestly, trust me, and I would prefer the offense to move more efficiently, and I would favor our head coach that won the Super Bowl more than our franchise quarterback. I would trust our Super Bowl winning head coach.
Trust him to do what? Who was he supposed to check down to?
He ran into Carson Wentz.
I watched the tape 3 times. There wasn't a lot of checkdowns in this game.
Darius literally just said the offense looked more fluid.
Listen. I'm going to explain it to you.
Okay.
I want to explain this Atlanta McCown thing to you.
Yeah.
Okay. McCown came in for how many plays?
Like 5,
3
6.
plays. 3
What?
plays.
I think it was
towards
5.
the end of half.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Towards the end of the half, what was Atlanta doing? They were protecting downfield. They were protecting the end zone. They were giving him every little check down. All he had to do was check it down. Once you got closer to the end zone in the red zone, they tightened up. That's all it was. You got to remember, you can say what you want about Carson Wentz. In that Atlanta game, he delivered the strike. He delivered a touchdown pass.
Look at this last comment. Eric Eddings. This offense does not fit Wentz. It fits a pocket passer. Totally
different argument. I agree with the argument that the offense is not built around his strengths.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've said to you before, if you put, I don't care who you put a big armed quarterback who holds the ball longer, who is a vertical passer, he is going to have the same problems in his offense. That falls on the coach. That falls on the GM. That falls on them to build the offense around Carson Wentz.
Let me ask you a bombshell question real quick, and then we'll get to Darius. Let me ask you a bombshell question real quick, Philly. If you're keeping one guy, who's it going to be? Carson Wentz or Doug?
By Doug. Why would I keep Doug?
Because he won us a Super Bowl.
He's not playing. He's not on the field.
But if
it's a lot harder for me to find a franchise.
If you could give him a fucking competent quarterback, he could do work.
Come off it, dude.
Okay. One thing I actually do want to mention.
How about some competent receivers? Do you know how many plays I have seen perfect passes on third downs get dropped? And then the argument is, well, he's throwing it too hard. Well, if you're throwing into a space like this, you're going to throw the ball hard.
What about the first 3 downs, though? What about the first 3 downs?
What first 3 downs?
Third down.
Are you talking about in the Patriot game?
Yeah, let's talk about the Patriots game real quick.
Okay.
That last drive, all right? There was one underthrown, overthrown, underthrown. We were at 40 on the Pat side of the field, all right?
Yeah.
What are the odds, all right, from the 40-yard line of the Pats to get down to the 15 or the 10 during the 2-minute drill, which is the hardest drill to defend in the National Football League? What are the odds to get there?
I don't know.
Good.
I don't know.
Very good. All right. I would have said we would have got down there 80%. All right.
Where did we start that drive from?
I think if anyone in the chat could tell us.
I think it was like the 10.
What?
I think it was like the 10-yard line. Maybe 5.
No way.
Yeah, it started way back. It was a long drive. Yeah.
I don't think
drive. Oh, I'm pretty sure it was like there was like 8 minutes left. I want to say maybe there's 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. It was like the 12-yard line, 10-yard line, somewhere around there.
Arthur said 20, and that brings up another point. All right,
wasn't at the 20.
If we go down that far down the field, why does everything stall out with the 2-minute drill?
Well, because it's stalled out because 2 things.
because the quarterback can't
main problem is Carson threw some bad throws.
Yeah,
and it's totally on him. You got to blame him for it. I blame him for that. That was the most disappointing part of his performance to me was that second to last drive. But at the same time, if we're going to be honest about it and we're going to see it all the way through, that 4th and 10 pass was perfect. So he delivered the touchdown strike. He delivered the pressure situation strike, even after missing those 3 throws.
And you know what?
And Nelson, two left hands, he dropped it.
And you know what pisses me off about that throw being almost perfect? It wasn't perfect, but it was almost perfect. That it gave the fans another excuse for Carson Wentz. That's what just pissed me off.
But it's not an excuse. It's the truth. It was a perfect throw.
I talked about the 3 before that.
I did. I just do that?
Yeah, they were horrible. You could have done better.
They were bad. I would have done better. It was bad throws. He's got to eat that. But he still threw a good one.
This is one thing I just got to mention. Like, obviously, and this was just what I was mentioning on some of my videos I made earlier this week. Is just like, it sucks that we continue to go ahead and talk about Nelson Aguilar's drops and big-time moments that can go ahead and excel. Not only just Carson Wentz, his performance, but also where the Eagles could possibly land when it comes to some of our wins this year. But at the end of the day, we've seen enough. We've seen more bad than good from Nelson Aguilar, and it's just like, why does this? In all seriousness, for me, this really does go back to Howie Roseman, like where we've seen so much bad from Nelson Aguilar, but yet he still took the initiative to be like, let me go ahead and give this guy $9 million. We see Golden Tate walk, let him walk to New York. And I mean, I don't care if the Giants are washed. I don't care if they're water, but I'm seeing Golden Tate just destroy up in the Meadowlands. And it's just like, and I understand maybe Mike Groh could not have figured out how to work out Golden Tate. But in my opinion, I felt like a full off season with Carson Wentz training camp would have been able to go ahead and get Golden Tate more molded into the offense. But it's just, again, I think this goes back to Howie Roseman, where I don't know how many times after these games where we talk about Nelson Aguilar's big drop. And it's not just this year, though. This goes back to many years of him being here in Philly. And it's just like, well, we're the ones that decided to go ahead and bring him back. And it's just what's the saying? The definition of insanity was just keep doing it over and over again. It's just so that's a problem. And then one thing I actually want to go ahead and mention, going back to like Carson Wentz and the whole Doug Peterson's play style. Now we were talking about Frank Reich prior to it and how he was able to go ahead and coach up Jacoby Brissett, where skill wise they were able they kind of matched. Jacoby Brissett's skill, athleticism matches up with Carson Wentz. Maybe what we saw in 2017 was Frank Reich being able to utilize Wentz's mobility, run out the pocket and all that kind of stuff to make plays, where Doug Peterson, once he established himself running the RPO offense, and it really did great, at the end of 2017. It took off as well as at the end of 2018, pretty much saved our season. Maybe Doug Peterson, because he's still a young coach as well. He was 3rd, 4th year as a head coach. Maybe he established himself where, I do better when it comes to coaching, perhaps the taller, more pocket-like quarterbacks, which is why what we saw with Josh McCown. Now, I know you did mention Philly.500, where the reason why that drive looked a little bit more smoother for the quick 3, 4, 5 plays McCown was in was just because they did a lot of check down passes. Well, that's how it really worked. Like, that's what Nick Foles did. He come in, he dropped down, just threw a quick check down passes, and the offense start moving. That looks like that's more of Doug Peterson's play style, coaching style, and maybe Frank Reich's coaching style fit more of Carson Wentz, which is why we're seeing Jacoby Brissett honestly showing some flashes, like what you're saying. Looks like you're watching the ghost of that 2017 season.
Yeah, I think Doug can coach a style of offense that is conducive to your quarterback. Listen, the good coaches in the league take the talent that they have around them, and they play to their strengths. If Doug is if he's purposely saying to Carson Wentz, I don't care that you do this and this good, I want you to do this. To me, that's idiotic.
Yeah,
I mean that's idiotic.
But that's what won games, though.
But what I'm saying is that's maybe what Nick Foles does good, but that's not what Carson Wentz does good. And why would you? It's like It's like it's to me no different than when we had Chip Dip Kelly, right? And he brings in the Dallas Cowboys. I can't remember the stinking guy's name. Cowboys running back, and wants to play DeMarco Murray. He wants to play that offense with a running back that does not fit that style. And if you do that, that's not a good coach.
Well, Darius just brought up a good point. The fact that Frank Reich turned Jimmy Brissett into this quarterback that's carrying the Colts team, and you saw that Brian Hoyer was in there and they lost to the Dolphins, so you saw that Brissett was turned into a really good quarterback. You see that. Maybe you're thinking Frank Reich had a lot to do with Wentz's success in 2017. Like lot of it.
Who does Brissett have to throw to?
Just T.Y. Hilton. That's it. That's all I can really think of.
Doyle?
T.Y. Hilton is 1,000 times better than any receiver we have.
What?
Okay, but I'm pretty sure
T.Y. Hilton is better than any receiver we have.
Huh?
You hear T.Y. Hilton?
Wait. Okay. So the Super Bowl, the first touchdown. All right. Who was that?
Yeah. The first touchdown in the Super Bowl. I don't even remember.
Alshon Jeffrey. He jumps up for it like a fucking spider.
Alshon Jeffrey is not playing. He's not even playing.
In the Super Bowl?
Hurt all year. No, but right now.
We're talking about wide receivers on our team, though. And you're saying T.Y. Hilton's better than him. I don't think he's better than him.
Right now?
When healthy, I don't think he's better than him.
Who's having a better year?
Hey, what if hold on. Low key, what if I were to go ahead and tell y'all that Nelson Aguilar has more receptions than T.Y. Hilton right now?
Woohoo!
How many drops does Nelson Aguilar have?
Well, the Eagles are definitely
tell me the average
drops
per reception.
Drops Eagles are definitely more.
What's the average per reception?
Way up there than way
All
up
I want to
there.
know is what's the average per reception?
Average per reception. I think they're probably around the 300. Let me see. Nelson Aguilar 36 receptions for 322 yards. And then T.Y. Hilton, 32 receptions for only 360 yards.
Averaging what?
About 10.
That's 11 yards per reception for T.Y. and then 8.9 yards for Nelson.
I'll take the 11 yards over one reception.
But
a couple yards.
But
2 yards.
It's with that case though. But it's just like you still see more of a fluent offense.
We're really comparing Nelson Aguilar to T.Y. Hilton, right?
When he catches the ball, yes.
We're really doing that.
No, but it's just. But I don't know. For me, again, I feel like it's always beating a dead horse when it comes to just talking about Nelson Aguilar. After seeing what I saw this morning about how Doug Peterson came in pretty much saying, look, I kind of want Wentz to slow down and just let the offense, let him flow with the offense, and then Carson Wentz. But after seeing our franchise quarterback and our head coach going opposite directions, I feel like
you mean a press conference yesterday?
Was that yesterday or this morning?
Today.
I heard Carson speak yesterday, and he was talking about how he's got to check it out.
No, they both talked today. They both talked today and yesterday.
I remember I didn't see today, but I saw yesterday, and I saw Carson was saying
snippets of him and Doug going back and forth. Basically, the coach is like, he says something else, and then Carson's like, no. And then basically it just went from there, and then the fans just get up and uproar. Like,
I think that the way it's cut, because I watched both of their press conferences yesterday, and I thought Carson was pretty much like, yeah, I got to check it down better. I got to trust my guys more. I got to not press at times. There's things I definitely have to be better. But the one thing I will always do is I will always have to figure out that balance between playing, keeping plays alive and taking the play and letting it go. I have to do a better job on that balance. That's what I heard him say. I didn't hear them arguing.
Yeah, it just seems like they were just not really on the same page, where I think Doug Peterson is sort of trying to, for the most part, just trying to slow down Carson Wentz's game, just because, I feel like if Carson Wentz had the playmakers out there, then for sure, then allow Carson Wentz to go ahead and, do what he got to do. But, we dealt with this last year when we lost Mike Wallace for the rest of the year after just one game. And our offense, once it was able to go ahead and slow down, we put up, 31 against the Rams, and then 33 or something, 34 against the Texans the following week. Like, we just started to go ahead and explode.
Well, yeah, we had Alshon, who was at least somewhat healthy, and we had Golden Tate right there. That's a major upgrade.
And Seattle's defense, and I'm going to go. This is a perfect segue into what I'm about to say. But Seattle's defense isn't what they used to be. All right. We could definitely put up points against the Seattle Seahawks. But the problem is can we slow down the Seattle Seahawks? Because Russell Wilson's lighting it up, and our defense played pretty damn well last week. They really did. And we go into this game as 1-point favorites, according to Vegas. Do I think that we can win this game? No chance in hell. But with that being said, it's any given Sunday. You never know. And we're the type of team that would beat Seattle and then lose to the Dolphins. So, I mean, you just what do you guys think about that?
I see this like a Aaron Rodgers kind of situation where you just got to find a way to beat the guy who you've never beaten before. Russell Wilson, he owns the Philadelphia Eagles. Our best season ever, 2017. He still owned us.
Yep.
Owned us. And we were not that game was not even competitive.
No.
And that was our best season. And as a matter of fact, and here's how crazy it was. I was celebrating when I found out Seattle was not going to make the playoffs in 2017. That's how much I fear Russell Wilson.
Yep.
And so him off a bye week, MVP level. He added another dangerous addition in Josh Gordon, DK Metcalf.
Oh, God.
Tyler Lockett.
Mm.
These are guys that if the route isn't there and Russell Wilson escapes the pocket, they're going to find a way to get to Russell Wilson and allow Russell Wilson to make another play. Like this is going to be a game where Vinny Curry, Derek Barnett, Brandon Graham, whoever's going to be activated, Josh Sweat, whoever else, our ends are going to have to do a substantial job to go ahead and contain Russell Wilson. And as for the offensive side, we got to see how Jordan Howard is going to do. I saw what the Ravens did against the Patriots and Seahawks, and they ran down their throats. You got to punch them in the mouth. We all know Jordan Howard.
We all know it.
If Jordan Howard is there, well, we got to find a way to just run up the gut against these guys. That's the only way. You're not going to try to out finesse them, try to be too cute against these kind of teams. No, you have to just punch them in the mouth and pound that rock, and then that can go ahead and start creating plays on offense. So that's just my way of making this a competitive game.
Oh, Darius, you know what will happen? We'll be running the ball 10 times for about $150, and then we'll just shy away from it, and it'll end right there for the rest of the game. We'll lose. That's what will happen. Annoying.
Well, what's Lane Johnson's status? Hold on.
I think he's hurt.
I'll tell you what,
man.
This game is, you know, you look at, we're talking about Howie Roseman. You have Jadeveon Clowney, who could have been an Eagle. You have Josh Gordon, that could have been an Eagle. And you have DK Metcalf, who could have been an Eagle, that should have been an Eagle. And they're all Seattle Seahawks.
The big one was Clowney. I really wanted Clowney.
He's really coming on, and they didn't give up that much for him. And then when you look at Russell Wilson, I mean, his ability to hold the ball and create
breakdown
plays and space is unbelievable. And he's got receivers like Lockett and DK Metcalf and Gordon that can do it. He scares the hell out of me. And I think him and Lamar Jackson are one of them two will be the MVP. And Russell Wilson scares me. He scares me. But at the same time, there's two things I do like about this game. One, it's not Sunday night football. I think that helps. And I also think the way the Eagles lost and everything that's been happening, sometimes that kind of stuff seems to bring this team together. And they just play their best football after.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that makes me somewhat, that's what I'm putting my hope in. Because in terms of trying to keep up with that offense, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can't disagree with anything you just said. If we had to do a score prediction right now, I'd have to go 35-24 Seattle. I think it's a really high-scoring game. But I feel like at the end of the game, they just shut us down completely and take over, and they win another one, and we're at 5-6 going into the Dolphins game.
I'll probably say if we could execute our game plan of running the football and containing Russell, I could perhaps see a 2017 Eagles upset. But that has to work though. Running the football and containing Russell. That's honestly my formula of winning this game. if that can't happen, if that doesn't work out, I could see a 28-17 Seattle win. So, yeah, we really got to go ahead and just pound that rock, punch them in the mouth, and contain Russell. So big game from our edge rushers this upcoming Sunday.
Huge. I think if this ship, if I'm gonna go down with this ship and I'm burning down, I'm taking the Eagles this week. I'm sticking with my man Carson Wentz, baby. North Dakota. He's gonna have a big year. He's gonna have a big game. He's gonna have a comeback game this week. I'm sorry.
All right, go ahead.
No, I'm gonna say they win. I'm gonna say the Eagles are gonna win 27-24.
You know what you sound like? You sound a lot like me in 2017 when Nick Foles wasn't playing well against Oakland and he wasn't playing well against Cowboys. And I'm like, we're still going to go very far in the playoffs. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. You sound exactly like me. And I love it. I love the fact that no matter what happens, you're still with your guy. No matter
I will literally, Philly.500, I will literally have your face as my Twitter Abby for the rest of the year if the Eagles run the table and Carson Wentz starts getting that MVP form and we make the playoffs. Your face will be my Twitter Abby for the rest of the season. I swear to you.
All right, I'm going to hold you to that one. When my thing with Carson is I'm sticking with him right now. Now, if you get him a bunch of weapons in the offseason and he comes back and we're dealing with the same stuff, then I'm gonna go hard on him, man. But right now, I just feel like I'm not ready to do that yet.
Going into the season, and we're about to wrap this up, but going into the season, all I wanted Carson Wentz to do was win a playoff game. That's all I wanted him to do. And the problem is we don't even look like we're going to make the playoffs right now. So it's like, now what do you judge going into next year if we don't make the playoffs? It's like, do we judge Carson? Do we judge Doug? Is Doug on the hot seat? Like, what do we do?
Here's my thing, okay? One, this game, win or lose, is not going to determine your playoffs. It's that Dallas game that is going to make or break, okay? That's the big game.
No, it's the Dolphins game. It's the Dolphins game. Then it's the Dolphins game. Then it's the Redskins game, and then it's the Cowboys game. It takes every game week by week.
Okay, fair enough, Coach Nitro. Fair enough. Okay, but in the offseason, my whole thing is this. Howie Roseman and Doug Peterson have to change that whole offense. They have to make it a friendly to your quarterback. You invested $100 million in this quarterback. You got to start saying, hey, we're not going to make him be Nick Foles. We're going to let him be Carson Wentz, and we're going to put the weapons around him. And when they do that, and if he fails, then it's all on him, dude. It's all on him. You know?
So, I mean, pretty much before closing it off, when you mentioned about the Seattle Seahawks and the guys that we could have potentially have, I'm going to say this. I mean, obviously, I think Howie Roseman has started, people are starting to go ahead and take a second look at Howie Roseman now. It's just like, who are you bringing in now? What are you bringing in? And maybe let's say if Metcalf goes off and Josh Gordon goes off, if they play a significant role come Sunday, and I mean, and I know Jadeveon Clowney, if he does his part, but in my opinion, I'm circling more Metcalf and Josh Gordon just because obviously those two guys will be a huge significant part for our offense because our passing game has been our bigger issue this year now. So if those two guys go off, I think this upcoming offseason, all eyes got to be on Howie Roseman. It's just like don't overthink anybody. Don't overthink anything. You got to go with the obvious talent that's out there. You got to go with the obvious talent out there. Like you knew when we were up on that draft board that DK Metcalf was the obvious talent out there, and we decided to skip out on him. You knew when Josh Gordon was waived by the New England Patriots, that was the obvious talent that was out there, but yet we went with Jordan Matthews. So for Howie Roseman, no more overthinking, dude. No more overthinking. If there's an obvious talent out there that you know is going to be a difference maker for this damn team, you got to go ahead and go after it. So this game, it's not only just going to be a lot for us. It's a conference game, a playoff picture, and all that kind of stuff. And got to keep up with the Dallas Cowboys because, side note, I do have them beating New England Patriots. I'm sorry, I know I have them beating New England.
I got a bad feeling about that game too. I got a bad feeling about it.
I do not like it. I do not like the way the Patriots have been looking, the way I just don't like it. But we're going to be obviously hoping for a Cowboys loss on Sunday. But if we're going to be keeping up with this race, this Sunday's game is going to speak a lot on just everything, including Harry Roseman if those two guys go off.
I agree.
All right. Well, with that being said, we're about to wrap this up. So score predictions, you had, what was it, Darius?
2017 Eagles.
2017 Eagles. All right, close game.
27-24 Eagles.
27-24 Eagles. I got 35-20.
I'm going down with this shit.
Seattle Seahawks. All right, with that being said, everyone, we're about to get out of here, but I just want to remind you I'll have streams on Saturday doing the boxing and Sixers game. Return of the Zompster will be coming on to my YouTube channel. He'll be doing a live stream talking Eagles, and he hasn't been on here in a while, so that should be fun. But as always, Philly.500, Darius, you guys are the absolute best. One of the best streamers on YouTube. I think we're one of the best. But with that being said, fly goes fly. We are out. Bye.